All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. As you can see by the title and the thumbnail, when the discipline doesn't go as planned. Now, in this one, I'm going to talk about a couple of instances where I've seen a particular group, whether it be these were in the county jail, where the a particular group sends a couple of people to discipline one of their people, basically give them a beat down. And the guys that go to do the boo-bopping end up getting boo-bopped themselves. So before we get into it, check out the intro.
Welcome back to Broken Bobby's transformation page. In the late 80s, I became involved with drugs and would eventually become part of that lifestyle of trafficking, addiction, and violence. Over the next 20 years, I would be in and out of jail and prison. If you're thinking about trying something or you're dealing with addiction, your life don't need to go down the same path mine did. I hurt a lot of people, both physically and emotionally. These are my stories of how I transformed my life, and you can too. Let's get.
All right, guys. So if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe. Hit that like button. Drop a comment. Tell me what you think. Tell me if you've ever seen something like this happen. Also, share the video and hit that notification bell so that anytime I drop a new video or I go live, you will be notified. Also, you can become a member of the channel. Members get exclusive content, and we're going to be working on some merch here shortly, so be on the lookout for that as well. Members will get discounts on that sort of stuff. So let's talk about it, right? When I say discipline, when a particular group disciplines somebody basically had an infraction that needed to be corrected, basically. Now, in county jail as well as prison, there's a lot of rules that you have to follow. The ones that typically will get people caught up are gambling, disrespect, uh, issues of drug use where you're getting credit and you can't afford it. Anytime you do something that you can't afford and that debt is called for, then that could be possibly a discipline or even a removal where they're really trying to hurt you and get rid of you, basically. So I've seen dozens of these over my times in the county jails in Los Angeles, San Bernardino, and Riverside counties, as well as in prison. And typically, what happens is they're going to send 2 or 3 guys to, like if it's a discipline, a lot of times they'll tell the guy, hey, go to that rear restroom. You got something coming, homeboy. And, take what you got coming, basically. And people will do that because they don't want to be viewed as like no good or a coward or something like that. And most of the time they know they messed up. Now, if it's a removal, that's a whole different story. They're not going to warn you. They're just going to send people with sharp objects to try to poke as many holes in you as they possibly can. But I'm talking about disciplines here. DPs, they're called. And it's not what don't be dirty minded about it, all right? It's not that. It's basically some people are going to put some hands on you, and hopefully you're going to learn from what you did wrong. And that ultimately that's what a discipline is. There's many forms of discipline. You can be put on workout discipline, where for us to woodpile, you need to do 123 burpees, or it could be whatever. It could be 500 burpees. But it could be while we're on yard, you're going to be doing burpees the whole damn time because you messed up and you need to learn. Or it could be hands-on stuff where, okay, you messed up, we need to send a message, basically. A lot of times if there's other races involved, then it's a lot more hands-on. It's not always that way. Riots kick off because another race may come and say, hey, we don't want this guy here, and if we think he's good and solid, then we'll kick it off for that guy. But There was a time I was in Riverside County Jail. I do believe it was Southwest Detention Center. And for some reason, with Southwest, my mind is really foggy when it comes to there. But to be honest with you, I was on probation in Riverside, San Bernardino, and LA. And I caught a couple of violations out of Riverside, and that was the first place I landed. So I was coming down, I was still kind of in the haze. And my memory's a lot better with San Bernardino and LA County because most of the time, by the time I got there, I already had a few months of sobriety under my belt and I was coming out of the fog. But I was in Southwest. I cannot even tell you where I was at. I do not remember. I know it was cell living, and a dude had messed up basically. And I don't know what his infraction was. Like, I was not in any type of a position there. Uh, I was basically recovering from what my addiction had done to me, and I was still in a big time haze. But when we would have day room, I would come out and I would walk laps around the day room, which a lot of people who are incarcerated do that. And I was walking my laps, and a lot of times you'll get a heads up, hey, something's getting ready to happen in that rear restroom. So, uh, you know, just to give you a heads up, that way you don't go rushing over there or something thinking that somebody's attacking one of your people or something. Uh, you do your best to not pay attention to what's going on over there because you don't want to dry snitch on a situation. And the thing is, a lot of times that's how the guards know something's going on because half the dorm is looking in that direction, and it piques their curiosity, so they come check it out, and that's how they find out things sometimes. But on this particular day, they sent 3 guys in to discipline one individual. Now, the individual that they were disciplining, I don't want to say he was somebody, but he was definitely a rider. Big guy, done a bunch of prison time, big buff dude, bunch of tattoos, totally with the business. And, they sent 3 dudes in there to touch him up. And, uh, you know, I had been walking my laps around the day room, and I decided to sit down at one of the white tables, basically, with some homeboys, and you could hear that it had started. And what you hear is, imagine like being at a basketball game, that squeaky noise of the shoes on the floor, like that's what you hear, and you hear the people hitting each other basically. And we're sitting there, we're trying to mind our business, and within maybe 30 seconds of this discipline starting, we see one of the dudes backpedaling out away. And the guy that was getting boo-bopped or disciplined is coming after him. And we're all like, what the hell is going on? Apparently, when they went in there to get on him, he dropped 2 of them right away. Dropped 2 of them to the surprise of the third one, and the third one was off and running, trying to get away from this dude because he knew he was outmatched. And to be honest with you, this is a really bad look on the woodpile, because when these disciplines happen, if you're in an area where the rest of the dorm can see, the other races can see, they're looking, it's a demonstration basically. I always say you're putting a demo down. And they chose the wrong guys to go in there, basically, is what it was. The leadership in that dorm chose the wrong guys to go get on this guy. Those guys went in without a plan, had no idea what they were doing, and the person that was supposed to be disciplined ended up dishing out discipline to all 3 of those guys. And it was a bad look on us because The thing is, a lot of times, like when I was in positions to send people to discipline people, I always knew my people. You've seen them put in work previously or something to that extent to where where I would know that these guys can handle the job. And leadership obviously didn't do that in this case. So it was a bad look. It was a good look for homeboy that was getting disciplined because he's a beast now. He's on beast status. But why didn't they send in the appropriate force to get that job done? And the leadership that was in that building ended up getting replaced basically because it was a bad look. And, the thing is, when I would send people to discipline somebody, if I knew I had a new guy and I didn't know what he was about, I would definitely send a seasoned guy with him that had been through this before and knew how to handle the situation. So, generally that's kind of what you want to do, depending on who the target is, too. If the bigger the target is, the more firepower you need to send typically, especially if they're already a proven commodity. Okay. So I've seen I was in San Bernardino County in Glen Helen, and I seen a couple of blacks get off on another black. I'm assuming this was a discipline because nobody else jumped in. And I'm not going to say which car it was uh, as far as that goes, because the idea of this isn't to make anybody look bad or anything like that, but these sort of things happen. And these two got on this dude, and this dude fought back. And I don't want to say that he ended up winning that, but it was definitely a draw. 2-on-1, a draw's not a good look. It's a good look for the one that's holding his, but the thing is, when somebody's being disciplined, you want that discipline to be carried out, and that you want that person that got disciplined to be black and blue basically by the time it's done. And in both of those situations, that didn't happen. Now, there was a discipline that I was involved in. This one was in the early 90s in Glen Helen. And, at that time, Glen Helen was, if you were sentenced in San Bernardino County and you had less than a year, they would send you to Glen Helen. Glen Helen was barracks living, and occasionally when somebody would mess up, they would, what they would do is towards the back of the barracks, they would slide one of those bunks over, and we would go in there and handle business, basically. So there was this kid named Monster. This dude was 6'6", 6'7", probably about 280. He was a big boy. He's like 19 years old at the time, too. And they basically tapped me on the shoulder. Hey, can you do us a favor, homeboy? I said, absolutely. What do you need? So they sent me and this other kid. His name was Rooster. I don't recall where he was from. It may have been like Fontana or something. He's definitely an IE boy. But, I'm 5'9", maybe at that time, maybe 170 pounds. And Rooster was about 6', 200 maybe. So, we're going in on a big boy. And prior to doing this, basically we got together and formulated a plan because we didn't want to look stupid losing a 2-on-1 against this monster, this literal monster, right? So the plan was I was going to go low and grab the dude, and Rooster was going to do everything he could to get him off of his feet. And that's what we went in there with. That was the plan because Monster was a big boy. One of my fists, probably, actually, two of my fists is probably one of his. So the last thing you want to do is allow this big old monster to start teeing off on you because it could definitely end ugly, you know. Rooster had been around. I was a young buck at this point, so I didn't know what I was doing. But like I said, we formulated this plan and we were going to carry out the mission as called for because, I'm a youngster. He's already been around a little bit and I know what time it is, like this basically is like we're putting on a demonstration for all the other races basically because they're all in there basically on bunk status because they know something's getting ready to go down and they all want to see what's going to happen, so we go in there. I go low. I like grab him below the waist and try to take his legs, but he's too big. Rooster sweeps him. Now I'm on top of him. I'm hitting him with rib shots. Boom, boom, boom. And Rooster's bringing the elbows down on his face. And like we busted this dude up pretty good, you know. And, I don't tell this story to glorify that situation. I tell this story and all of these stories in this video to say that, if you don't want to be involved in this type of stuff, whether you're being boo-bopped or you're boo-bopping, as they say, then, don't get locked up and don't go to prison because this type of stuff happens all the time in there. In the California system, from what I understand, there's been like 50 murders this year. That is ridiculous. Somebody's getting unalived at a more than one a week pace right now. Like it's a mess in there, guys. You don't want to be there. So my best suggestion is if you're thinking about coming over into sobriety, it's a great time to do it. If nobody said it to you, I believe in you. You can do it. I was an addict for 15 years, hooked on those crystals, and I managed to do it. And now I've been clean for 20 years, and you can do it too. It's just a matter of one day at a time. Find a meeting if you need to, so you can, get accustomed with some people that are living that sober life, because chances are all your friends are using too. And as long as you keep that company, you're going to keep being that person as well. So that's my story for the day, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. It's all about building a good, strong foundation around you. The stronger your foundation is, the more likely you are to succeed with this sobriety thing. So, like I said, if nobody else has said it, I believe in you. You can do it. It's one day at a time, maybe 1 hour at a time if that's what it needs to be. Uh, find a meeting in your area. If you need more help, you can always check into a residential program and they can help you to set your life straight. So, hope everybody is off to a great start today. Uh, I'll be going live later on tonight, so be on the lookout for that as well. Uh, if you're new to the channel and you enjoy this sort of content, be sure to subscribe. If you like the video, smash that like button. Drop a comment. Have you ever seen the one getting disciplined end up doling out the discipline to the discipliners? That's a lot of discipline, isn't it? Anyways, drop a comment and tell me what you've seen and what you think. It's a wild place in there, like being incarcerated is a whole different level of craziness. So, but anyways, yeah, share the video, hit that notification bell, and become a member of the channel. Hit that join button and choose a membership level. That is the best way to support this channel. Also, if you have any questions for me and you don't want to put them in the comments, hit that email that's in the description. I check that probably every couple of days, and I promise I'll get back to you as soon as possible if you have questions that you don't want to discuss down in the comments. So, hope everybody is having a good day, like I said before, and don't look at the mountain, just start climbing.